Have you ever wondered why, despite all your efforts, your life keeps circling back to the same patterns? Why success feels hollow, relationships feel surface level, and that deep restlessness never quite goes away? You know what I'm talking about. That feeling when you've checked all the boxes society told you to check, yet something fundamental still feels missing. What I'm about to share isn't another positive thinking tutorial. This isn't about manifesting or affirmations or convincing yourself everything's fine when it's not. This is about the invisible architecture of your reality. The one you've been unconsciously building for decades, thought by thought, belief by belief. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand why your thoughts aren't just mental chatter floating around in your head. They're the blueprint of your entire existence. The foundation of every relationship, every opportunity, every limitation you're living with right now. And more importantly, you'll know how to redesign that blueprint from the ground up. So here's what's really happening. At this stage of life, you've probably noticed something that younger people haven't figured out yet. The same thoughts that got you here won't get you where you want to go. Yet somehow, we keep thinking them. Day after day, year after year, we replay the same mental loops, expecting different results. And here's the part that might surprise you. Those thoughts swirling around in your head, they aren't random. They're not even really yours in the way you think they are. Most of what you think is inherited patterns, cultural downloads, survival mechanisms that your family, your society, your past experiences programmed into you. And yes, they served a purpose. They kept you safe, helped you fit in, got you through difficult times. But here's the thing nobody talks about. That purpose might be over. Those protective thoughts that helped you survive your 20s and 30s, they might be the very things suffocating your 40s, 50s, and beyond. The mental patterns that helped you climb the ladder might be the ones keeping you trapped at the top, looking around wondering, is this all there is? I know this because I've been there. We've all been there. Sitting in a life that looks successful from the outside, yet feeling like we're living someone else's dream. And we think there's something wrong with us. We think we're ungrateful, or broken, or going through some kind of crisis. But what if I told you that feeling isn't a crisis? It's clarity. The reason you feel stuck isn't because you're not smart enough or strong enough. You've proven your intelligence and strength 1,000 times over. You feel stuck because you're trying to build a new life with old mental blueprints. You're trying to construct an authentic future using inherited thoughts that were designed for a completely different version of you. Now let me share something that completely changed how I understand the mind. Most of us walk through life believing that thoughts just happen to us, like we're innocent bystanders in our own heads. And these random thoughts just show up uninvited. We think, oh, there I go being negative again, or why do I always think the worst? As if we have no control over it. But here's the life-changing truth. Your thoughts aren't random visitors. They're patterns you've been unconsciously rehearsing for years, maybe decades. Every time you think, I'm not good enough, you're not having a spontaneous thought. You're practicing a pattern. Every time you think, this won't work out, you're rehearsing a script that was written long before this moment. And here's what goes even deeper. Every single thought you think is either building your authentic life or maintaining your inherited limitations. There's no neutral ground here. That worry you're spinning about tomorrow? It's not protecting you from future pain. It's rehearsing future limitation. That self-doubt you're carrying? It's not keeping you humble. It's keeping you small. That critical voice in your head that you think is protecting you, it's not protecting you anymore. It's protecting a version of you that no longer serves your evolution. A version that needed to stay small, stay safe, stay acceptable to people whose approval you've outgrown. Let me give you an image that will change everything. Imagine your mind as a garden that's been growing for 45, 50, 60 years or more. Every thought you've ever had was a seed. Every belief, every assumption, every story you told yourself about who you are and what's possible, all seeds planted in the soil of your consciousness. Now look around your life right now. Look at your relationships, your career, your bank account, your health, your daily experiences. You're not just living your life, you're living in the garden of your accumulated thinking. Every pattern you see, every limitation you bump up against, every area where things flow easily, it all grew from seeds you planted with your thoughts, year after year after year. And here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to tell you. The reason you feel different from everyone else isn't because something's wrong with you. It's because you're finally ready to plant different seeds. That restlessness you feel, that sense that you don't quite fit anywhere anymore, that's not a midlife crisis. That's your consciousness evolving beyond the garden you inherited. Your current reality isn't a judgment on your worth. It's not proof that you're broken or behind or doing life wrong. It's simply data about your mental patterns. And here's the beautiful thing about data. It can be changed. You can plant new seeds anytime you choose. Now here's where most people get it wrong. And I need to call this out because it's everywhere in the spiritual world. Everyone talks about positive thinking, gratitude journals, affirmations. And look, I'm not against any of that. But positive thinking is like putting makeup on a broken foundation. You can make things look prettier on the surface, but underneath, the structure is still cracking. Authentic thinking is about rebuilding the foundation itself. It's not about forcing yourself to think happy thoughts when your soul is screaming for something real. It's about thinking thoughts that are actually true to your experience, your wisdom, your evolution. At this stage of life, your soul doesn't want pretty thoughts. It wants true thoughts. Thoughts that honor who you're becoming, not who you were told to be. Thoughts that acknowledge your complexity, your contradictions, your earned wisdom. You've lived long enough to know the difference between surface optimism and deep truth. And here's the insight that changed everything for me. Maybe the reason nothing feels meaningful anymore isn't nihilism, it's discernment. Your consciousness is evolving beyond surface-level thinking. You're not becoming negative, you're becoming authentic. You're not losing faith, you're gaining clarity about what actually deserves your faith. The thoughts that feel uncomfortable, they might be the most honest ones you've had in years. Your soul is finally telling you the truth about what it wants. So let's bring this down from the philosophical clouds into your actual, everyday life. Because insights without application are just pretty ideas, and you've had enough pretty ideas to last a lifetime. Here's the first practical shift. Stop trying to control your thoughts. I know that sounds counterintuitive after everything we just talked about, but stay with me. You can't control what thoughts show up. They've been practicing their patterns for decades. But you can absolutely choose your mental company. Think of it this way. Every thought pattern you entertain is either expanding your possibilities or contracting them. That's it. Simple test. When you catch yourself spiraling into, what if this goes wrong? Ask yourself, is this expanding what's possible for me, or contracting it? When you hear that familiar voice saying, you're too old to start over, same question, expanding or contracting? Here's your real-life implementation. When you catch yourself in old thinking patterns, and you will, we all do, don't judge them. Don't go into shame or frustration about having the thought. Instead, thank them for their service. Literally. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. Thank you for the years you protected me. I've got this now. Then consciously choose thoughts that align with who you're becoming, not who you were. If you're becoming someone who takes risks, think thoughts that support risk-taking. If you're becoming someone who prioritizes authenticity over approval, think thoughts that honor that evolution. Now I want to give you something powerful, a permission framework that will change how you relate to your own mind. Because most of us are still asking permission from voices that don't even exist anymore. You have permission to think thoughts that honor your accumulated wisdom. All those years of experience, all those lessons learned the hard way, all that earned knowledge, your thoughts get to reflect that. You don't have to keep thinking like someone who doesn't know what you know. You have permission to think thoughts that reflect your authentic desires. Not what you should want, not what looks good on paper, not what makes other people comfortable, what you actually want. Your thoughts can be as wild, as unconventional, as specific as your true desires are. You have permission to think thoughts that challenge inherited limitations. Those realistic thoughts that were handed down from well-meaning people who were operating from their own fears and limitations. You can think beyond what your family thought was possible. You can think beyond what your generation was told was practical. And you have permission to think thoughts that support your continued evolution. Because here's what nobody tells you. You don't stop growing at 30 or 50 or 70. Your soul has no expiration date on its expansion. I spent decades thinking I had to fix my thinking. Like there was something fundamentally wrong with how my mind worked. Then I realized something profound. My thinking wasn't broken. My thinking was just trying to fix an authentic self that was never broken in the first place. This brings us to the deepest application of everything we've talked about. Your second act, whether you're 45 or 65 or 85, doesn't require positive thinking. It requires authentic thinking. Thoughts that are true to your soul's evolution, not society's expectations. Society wants you to think thoughts that keep you predictable, manageable, contained within acceptable parameters. Your soul wants you to think thoughts that are as expansive as your true potential, as unconventional as your authentic path, as bold as your deepest dreams. The thoughts that serve your evolution might make other people uncomfortable. They might challenge the status quo. They might require you to disappoint people who prefer the smaller version of you. And that's not just okay, that's the point. Your thinking gets to be as mature, as complex, as revolutionary as you are. Stop apologizing for thoughts that honor your growth. Stop shrinking your mental landscape to fit other people's comfort zones. Your consciousness has earned the right to expand beyond any limitation that was placed on it before you knew who you really were. If you're feeling this shift in your thinking right now, if something inside you is saying, "Yes, this is what I've been trying to understand," then you need to know something important. You're not alone in this awakening. You're part of a rare group of souls who've lived enough to know the difference between inherited thoughts and authentic wisdom. Most people will go their entire lives thinking the thoughts they were given, never questioning whether those thoughts actually serve who they're becoming, but not you. The fact that you're here, listening to this, recognizing yourself in these words, that's not an accident. That's your consciousness calling you towards something deeper. You've earned the wisdom to see through surface-level thinking. You've earned the right to question everything you were told to believe. You've earned the courage to think thoughts that honor your evolution. This restlessness you feel about conventional thinking, it's not a problem to be solved. It's your soul's intelligence, finally getting the attention it deserves. You're not becoming difficult, you're becoming discerning. Because this isn't just about changing your thoughts, this is about something much more profound. This is about honoring the consciousness that's been evolving through every experience you've had. Every loss, every breakthrough, every moment of doubt, every flash of insight, it's all been developing the wisdom that's ready to emerge now. Your thoughts are finally catching up to your soul's wisdom. All those years when you felt like you were thinking one thing but knowing something deeper, that tension is resolving. You're integrating the wisdom of your lived experience with the power of your conscious mind. And here's the profound truth that explains so much. Perhaps the reason you feel like an outsider sometimes is because you're finally ready to think from the inside out. Instead of adopting thoughts from external sources, you're learning to trust the wisdom that's been cultivated through your own journey. You're not losing your mind. You're finding it. You're not becoming antisocial. You're becoming authentically social. You're connecting with people from a place of truth rather than performance. Your awakening journey is just beginning to unfold. And I want you to know that we're building something here. A community of mature souls who understand that real transformation doesn't happen through forcing new thoughts, but through honoring the authentic consciousness that's been waiting to emerge. If this conversation has touched something in you, if you feel ready to explore what it means to think authentically rather than just positively, then stay connected, because what we've talked about today is just the beginning. There are layers of wisdom within you that haven't even been accessed yet. Your thoughts have been shaping your reality for decades. Now it's time to let your authentic self shape your thoughts. The power was always yours. You just needed to remember how to use it. The blueprint of your life is rewriting itself. Your consciousness is expanding beyond every limitation that was placed on it. And the most beautiful part? You're just getting started. Your second act, your third act, your soul's continued evolution, it's all unfolding now.